Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Coach Trev, your accountability coach. So I want to thank you all so much. I am going to just check in and let me see who is here. I appreciate that. Let's just check in here. Let me be sure I turn down my phone volume. So let's go ahead and let me set up the recording. Wonderful. All right, all right. Let's see who is chiming in. If you're here live, put down what state you're from. Put down what state you are from. Let's go ahead and get this going. Excellent. Hey everyone. Hope you're doing well. Coach Trev, the accountability coach. So I'm looking forward to our workshop today. We have some exciting information for you to share, things that you can really put into place practically. And so that's what I want to get started with. So what I'm going to do is let me just pull up the PowerPoint so we can go ahead and get started. I want to thank you all so much. If you're watching this live, put down in the comments #live. Yes, that you're watching this live. If you're watching this on replay, put #replay in there. That way, I know if you have any questions and you put them in the chat, I can get back to you. That's one of the quickest ways that I can do that. So that's an excellent thing. All right. So let's see. Let's see if I can do this. Great. Got the PowerPoint up. And so for those of you, if this is your first time watching this, feel free to hit the subscribe button, hit the bells for notifications so that you're able to get notified when I go live. I do post content daily. I post it on multiple platforms. And so in order to be part of that, to be enriched by it, to learn from it, just to get that inch forward, feel free to follow me on those various platforms as well. But definitely like, subscribe, and share. If you know somebody that this needs to get to on the follow through formula, feel free to let them know that, hey, I am here now. They can just go ahead and register. Yep, you can still register. You can still register. You can register at coachtrevlive.com. So for those of you that have had this here, go to coachtrevlive.com. So that's a key thing. All right. So let me click on that and let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen with you all. Okay, so yep, let's go ahead and do that. And what I'm going to do is present this to you. So let me make sure that I am sharing my screen. Here we go. Let's go ahead and let's share the desktop. Wonderful. And let's go ahead and get this going. Let's move this out the way. So I want to thank you all so much. I appreciate it. And as I said, this won't be long, but I tell you, the one thing I've heard people say, it's not the length, it's the strength of it. All right. So let me just be sure that this is coming through properly. Let me check in. Let's see. And I'm only checking in on my phone to be sure that as it's coming through, that you are getting the essentials, you're getting the key things that you can see. Oh, let's end that. And let's go ahead and I'm going to just put that on a regular slideshow. Let's see here, and pardon me for a moment. You'll see, I just had someone else join, so thank you all so much for joining. I appreciate it. Um, let's see here, and forgive me, a lot of times I do have another screen here, so I'm going to be putting it here at a time. So click OK. And let's go ahead and run this. So as I said, for those of you who are watching this for the first time, go ahead and be sure that you subscribe, like, and share all of that good things, all those good things. All right. So let's go ahead and get that started. Let's see. And I'm checking on my phone just to make sure that everything is showing up just right so that you can see the slides and all that. Perfect. So you can see the slides. So here's a key thing here. So what we're going to talk about is why some people finish what they start, which is the follow-through formula. So if you've been a person that has start projects that don't start, that you've had some ideas, it's right now, there's 3/4 of the year has passed. We're less than 100 days left to the end of the year. So you may say, I've started something, but I haven't followed through. It might have been books, it may have been health, any of those things. And so now this gives you an opportunity to find out what is the cause for that. What's the reason? If you're that person or you know someone that person, then this workshop is for you. So let's go ahead and get started on that. All right. So really what it comes down is to the tale of two people. And I believe you may know this person. So person one, this person says that they'll read 12 books a year and they actually do it. So they set their schedule up, they're executing, they're following through, and they read those books. They're the ones that purchase the gym membership and they're there each morning. They may take some weekends off, but they follow through and they show marked improvement. So that's person A. The next person is person B, the person who buys books with excitement, but yet they sit unfinished on a shelf. You know what we call those? We call those shelf help books. That's right, shelf help. Why? Because they're only helping the shelf and not helping self. So that's the question. The question is, when it comes to that, which person are you? Are you person A or are you person B? All right. That's a key thing to know who is who, what's what, and how it's flowing on. All right. So, I want to say, why does this hurt so much? And so what is the real cost of never finishing? So these are some of the first points is you lose confidence in your own word. You begin to doubt yourself, the things that you say, the things that you do, all of that. That's one of the key things is that you lose confidence in your own words. You know, next, your someday list keeps growing while your done list stays empty. If you notice this, you can search any calendar. You can go back in time. You can go back to the last century. You look on the calendar. There is not a single day during the week that says someday. You can look. Trust me, I've been there. I'll give you a moment to look. Check your phones. Yes. Check your week. There is no someday. And what happens is that list grows bigger, goes longer. I want to do this. I want to write that book. I want to create that course. I want to earn this particular type of money. However, the done list, it just keeps it's empty. There's tumbleweed that's going by that. Also, you start believing that you're just not a finisher. You're not a person that completes things. You're someone that starts it, that has that big rush at the beginning, but you're not a finisher. And that's the challenge there. And then the challenge is you waste money on courses, books, and programs you never complete. You say that the books, this course is only this amount of money. This book is only this. Oh, you're recommending this book? Sure, let me get this. Let me throw this in my cart. It comes in, it's nice and shiny. You rip it open. Oh, this looks great. Dust it off. Look at the table of contents. You are geared. However, that book stays there. That program, that course gets undone. And so this all builds up and it's really the true cost. So it's hurting you as because it lies incomplete. So now, what's the cost of staying stuck? Now, if you don't do anything, if you stay in this state, what's that cost? Well, one, you still have the same unfinished project next year and the year after that and the year after that, and the year after that, you have those unfinished projects. That's the key thing. Next, your potential will remain just that potential. See, the idea of potential means that there's a possibility, there's the open door. And if you look at the word potential, you'll see if you do an etymology, the first six letters means power. So there's a power that's there. So there's the capability, but it just remains in that state of power that sits but not executed. The next, what happens is you watch others achieve what you keep starting but never finishing. So whether it's a health goal, whether it's a particular business goal, whether it's a goal for you are on a particular position, a promotion, a degree, a certificate, you see others that may have started after you, they're achieving, but here you are never finishing. So that's what happens if you don't start. And then you carry the weight of knowing you could do more, but somehow, some way, you don't. So That's the challenge there. So if any of this is relatable, if you can realize this, put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat below and say you understand, you've been here, or you know someone that does that. Put a one in the chat, put an 11 in the chat. But I've had people put 111 in the chat. They're like, yes, I know people. I know this. This is landing. So now, let's talk about the details behind this. This is the science behind this, and I put this in large letters. This isn't my opinion. This isn't what Coach Trev said. I'm doing this. This is here. This is research. This is hard facts. You can search this out yourself. So let's break this down. Only 8% of people actually achieve their goals. Now, I want to pause there. 8, not 28. Not 18, 8, single digit. That means 92% of people that set their goals will not achieve them. 92%. That's a massive number. When you look at that 8%, the question is, are you among the 8? So that's the next thing. The person abandons new behaviors after 18 days. Yes. So there is that myth that it takes 21 days to form and create habits and things along those lines. Trust me, there's more science behind that. So you want to be sure to follow that. But yes, the average person abandons new behaviors after 18 days. And know this, people who write down their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them. So there's the power of writing behind it. And this is the research that's been done, that's studies that's been done over the course of years observing this. So this is not what I'm thinking. This is not my opinion, my conjecture, anything along those lines. My personal experiment, this is research. So are you part of that 8%? Are you hanging on to your goal? Are you making it past day 18? Are you part of the 42% or part of the 58 who aren't writing their goals down and don't achieve them? So let's jump into this. So let's talk about the 3 follow-through killers. These are the 3 points where people don't do that, and that hinders them when they're moving forward. All right. So let's talk about the first one. This is key. You rely on motivation instead of systems. That is so key. When it comes to your goals and it comes to that, you're hoping that that surge, that you're going to be able to ride that wave. And you're doing that, you're focusing on that instead of creating systems. Number 2, you ignore the predictable quick points. Yes. And notice when I say this, it's not that these are things that just happen out of thin air. These are predictable. These are things that you can see and make a note and write down, right? So good. Thank you. Yep. Continue to share. Keep it in the chat. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. And so point number 3, you plan for your best self and not your real self. See, what you're going to discover in the next few minutes is that how we solve for these 3 and apply them so that you become a finisher. You become one that follows through. You become part of the 8% that complete their goals. Right? So let's continue on. Now let's talk about solutions now that we know this. So we said point number 1, the fall through killer, you rely on motivation instead of systems. So what do? You build systems. You build systems, not motivation. All right. So how do we do that? 1, you create specific triggers that start your behavior. Now, this could be a particular song, it could be a conversation, it could be a meditation, whatever it is, but you create specific. And notice that this is very key. I don't want to say this too fast because a lot of times you can read something so quickly but miss the key words. The key word in this bullet is specific. Specific for you. What are the triggers that start your behavior? All right. Next, you want to design your environment to make follow through easier. When I mean design your environment, I mean look around. What is on your desktop? What's under your desk? What is around you? What's on your walls? What are some of the furniture pieces? Is there anything that's distracting you? Is there a poster, some magazines, a gaming console, what have you? You want to be sure that you're keeping your environment free of distractions and focused on what you're doing. That word design, that means take out the time to do that. So and it may mean that all those piles of books or piles of paper, you want to take the time to sift through those, shred what you need to shred, toss what you need to toss. What I'm telling you is that when you take the time to design your environment, then your environment begins to speak to you and you're now focused. Your environment now says that this is a follow through point. This is my follow through area, right? So if this is making sense, definitely put a one in the chat. Next, you want to focus on the next action, not the entire project. See, the challenge is too is that it's biological. The brain loves predictability. And so what you want to do is you want to really bring things a piece at a time, which is the next action. So think about it like this. I'm going to go full screen. Think about it like this. If you're in a particular room, let's say you're in a room and someone comes in with a mat with a 5 foot tall bright spotlight. They come in and they rush at you. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to put your hands up because it's too bright. It's massively bright. You're going to stop and protect yourself because all this light is, you didn't have time. And so you're going to shrink back because it's way too much. That's the same way that the brain is thinking, is that when you look at the entire project, it's too much. It's going to shrink back. It's going to fight. It's going to get into flight mode because it's protecting you. That's what it's doing. So it's biological. It's not personal. So think about that. And so what you want to do is when you think about the next action, you do what I like to call the candlestick method, meaning that instead of a spotlight, you bring in one candle. So you bring in one candle, and when you bring it in, you bring it in slowly. As you're bringing in slowly, your eyes get to adjust to that one candle. Once you have it up close and you can hold it, then you bring in the second candle. Your eyes get to adjust to those two candles because you're bringing that in. Then you're bringing a third candle, more candles until at some point in time, those candles, it will equate to the spotlight that you were thought to bring in earlier. The difference is that you gave yourself time to adjust. When you do that, that's when it becomes predictable. That's when it's more easier for the brain to accept versus the big spotlight. So utilize the candle method versus the spotlight method. That way, you're able to give yourself time to adjust and move on to that next action. I just wanted to go full screen because that was such a key point when it comes to following through. Focus on the next action, not the entire project. All right, so I'm gonna go back to sharing the screen. All right. Now, so that was the solution to number one. Build systems, not motivation. Okay. Now let's check in. And if this is landing for you, put a one into the chat, put a yes into the chat. All right. Because we want to make this engaging. Okay. So put a yes in the chat if this is landing for you. Next. The problem too is you ignore the predictable quit moments. Now, when you say quit moments, it means there's going to be times that are going to be points where, okay, this is when I'm going to quit. So what you're going to do is you're preparing for your specific quit moments. Not for anyone else's, for yours, because this is you working on yourself as a person that completes things, as a person who follows through, as part of that 8% that achieve their goals. So what do? You identify your personal quit triggers. So the personal quit triggers could be a particular time of day. It could be that you are working on a project and you'll know that when you'll start to wane, you may see your eyes start to wander or something. You may begin to make note of intrusive thoughts that are happening. So those are your personal, what I call quit triggers. Okay. So then what you do is you create your if-then plans for difficult moments. So If I become distracted, then I will stand up, I'll walk around, repeat the task that I'm doing to myself 7 times. I will think about it, I will repeat it, think about it. I'll do that for 5 minutes and then get me back on track. That's just a literally on the spot example of what's an if then statement. So if you get distracted, if you get tired, you've got to say, what's my plan for it? So you've got a plan for that. You've got to know, and you've got to build what we call build those momentum markers, because you know there's going to be times where you're going to have low energy. Some people have that midday, some have that towards the evening. Whatever it is time, you've got to really identify your personal quit triggers, create your if-then plans for them, and build momentum markers to track progress. Notice that point there. It does not say build motivation markers, build momentum markers. Motivation is like an EKG. When you're motivated, you're going to go up and then you're down. You know, when you're motivated to go to the gym, you go to the gym, boom, down, chill out for the rest of the week. So you don't want the EKG, you want the ascent, meaning that momentum is the steady climb, that steady incline that goes up as you're progressing. Those are the markers that you want that's going to help you track your progress, right? That's key. So when you're talking about that, you want to be sure you're building your momentum markers. All right. So excellent. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for commenting. So yep, this is engaging. We want to engage in these tracks here. So let's continue on. All right. Solution number three, the killer three. You plan for your best self, not your real self. Now, I might have leaked over into that, but understand you've got to plan for your real life, what happens to you. You want to say, well, this is my best self. My best self is, when I get 8 hours of sleep and I've exercised and I have my 5 massive bottles of water. I've got my 7 cups of tea. I've got the right music playing, the meditation. That's your best self. You've got to plan for your real self. So, as I said, you've got to assume there's going to be times when you have low energy, where you're just not feeling like you don't feel like achieving your days. You're just not excited enough. You don't have that that élan, that je ne sais quoi. So when you're saying, what is it that I need to do? So, what you've got to do is you create minimal viable actions for bad days. Meaning, what you do is you say, okay, I'm going to do this particular action in this particular time block. So you build blocks for those bad days. You're planning for the bad. A lot of people say, well, I'm planning for my good days. Well, here you've got to plan for low energy days. That's what our successful people do. Those are the people that make the genius move and they plan for low energy days. Anyone could be, or I won't say anyone, it's not difficult to build a plan when you have high energy. The challenge is when you have low energy. What do you do then? What's your plan behind that? How are you going to succeed and get things done? So you want to create the viable actions for those days. Also, you want to build flexibility into your follow-through plan. When it comes to you achieving your success, when it comes to that successful mindset, you being a person that follows through, you want to be sure you plan to pivot properly. A lot of P's. I almost tripped up on myself. But yes, you want to be sure that you plan to pivot properly. So you want to have that time of, okay, when do of adjusting? I'm going to adjust here. You want to build that in. See, I can either go here or go here. Now, when you have these options, they're slightly different from each other. They're not radically changing because we're not saying, well, I'm either going to take a walk or I'm going to go parachuting. So drastically different. So you want to be sure that this flexibility you have are similar options that stay in line with your goals. That's so key. All right. So those are suggestions for your for follow through killer number three. Assume you have low energy days, create your minimal actions, your minimum viable actions for them, and build flexibility into your follow-through system. So What can you do? Because what we talked about this is that you starting today. So one of the things you want to do is this. Pick one thing and notice that I put one in capital letters for a reason. Many times you may come to a workshop or similar funnel or may go through a course and say, you know what, I want to complete these three courses. I want to finish these three books. I'm going to finish these three things. I'm going to do these four exercises. I'm going to do, no, right now, pick one thing. Pick one thing you want to finish. And this is what you're going to do. Ask yourself this. One, what specific trigger will start my next action? Be specific. This is not for general, because understand when it comes to achieving your goals, it comes to being part of that 8%. Those people are finally look, know their specific triggers. You want to find yours. Next, ask yourself, what will I do when I want to quit? And this is for this one thing, not life in general. Remember, we're not talking about the entire project. We're talking about this one thing. Third thing you ask yourself, what's my minimum viable action for bad days? So the three things, what's your specific trigger? What will you do when you want to quit? What's your minimal viable action for your low energy days? Now, when you have these three questions, what I say is this. Don't start until you have all three answers. Don't start that one thing until you have all three answers. And when you have answers, understand these answers need to be clear. They need to be sincere. They need to be honest. They need to be specific to you. It's not about what someone else thinks in your opinion. When it comes down to it, this is you. Now, you can get some insight, who can pour into you, but when it comes down to it, these have to be answers that resonate with you, that land, that as soon as you hear the answers, boom, you feel that thud. You're like, this is it. There is no doubt. I'm sure it's ringing. It's ringing that bell. That bell is rung, meaning that resonates. That lands hard. All right. This is landing for you. As I said, put a one in the chat. Now see we have a few people here. So keep on um keep incorporating in the chat. So here's a question. Here's what I want to answer is why my approach works. So this is the difference, as it says, that makes the difference. Most people, when it comes to your goals, they'll tell you to stay motivated, just push through, just buckle up, pull yourself up by a that. Just go that one more length, just dig in deep, dig in. See, what happens though is that when it comes to finishing your projects, they don't have more people that finish them, they don't have more motivation, they just have better systems. Notice that. When it comes to that, if you've got a system, your brain says, great, I don't have to think anymore. I don't have to extend as much energy to guess what's coming up. You've got better systems. That's it. That's what's in place. All right. So there's that. And when it comes to my approach doesn't go against what your natural flow. It works with your human nature instead of fighting you. Saying, I know what the brain wants, what it needs to do, it's going to flow with it. And also what happens is that every time you want to think about this, is that systems beat willpower every day of the week and twice on Sundays. It does. You can dig in and say, well, that person had so much willpower. They're being interviewed. They had so much willpower. Now, I knew them years ago when they were just making X amount. Now they're being interviewed by this. They're on this here. They're this. They're at the top of their industry. People are coming to them. Why? Because they have systems in place instead of the willpower. So let me help you become a finisher. So here's something that I'd like to do. Now, in the course of my career, I've worked with dozens of people for over 2 decades. I've been across multiple, almost to all 50 states in the US and been to a few countries as well, training executives, directors, managers, training entrepreneurs as well. in person and virtual. I've seen nearly, of course, there's new inventions, but I've seen nearly every excuse, every quick point and pattern, all those things that stop your follow through. And so, what I want to do really when it comes to this is I want to help you design a personalized finishing system. Because the information that I gave you, this is definitely something that you can apply yourself. However, this is general, and it's important to have something that's specific for you, that's personalized. So this isn't, as I said, it's not generic advice. This is specific and personalized to your situation, to your goals, to where you want to go. So this is your personal, so what we'll create together, we'll basically create your personal follow-through system. We'll identify your specific quick triggers and patterns, because that's one of the key things. What are the patterns? How do you flow through your day? What are the certain triggers? Is it, somebody walking by? Is it a particular car that goes by your office or home? Is it a particular process, a pattern, some particular noise, song that's playing? Any of those things. But what we'll do is we'll identify your specific quick triggers and patterns. We'll design reality-based systems that work with your actual schedule. Yes, not with just a generic with your schedule. What we'll do is we'll create your personal formula for finishing what matters most. Reading that slowly, finishing what matters most. Because there's certain things you could finish saying, oh, you know what? I meant to pick those up. I meant to drop this off. I meant to return this here. It's about prioritizing, about putting first things first, making sure we're not making sure that we're avoiding majoring in minor things. We want to put first things first, prioritize quickly, and avoid majoring in the minor. And what we'll do is we'll build accountability that actually works for your personality. So here's what I know about you based on your attendance here at this workshop is that you have ideas that's worth completing and goals that's worth achieving. Else you wouldn't be here, or else you wouldn't be here live or watching this replay. So you have projects worth finishing that could change your life. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a professional, you're working with somebody, you have projects that can alter your course and alter your trajectory. So that's what you have. The only thing missing for you right now is the right follow-through formula. That's the only thing, being able to make it from point A to point A. See, think about it. I said point A, immediately you thought point B. To make it from point A to point A1, point A2, point A3. That's the difference. That's the key thing in working with me. And so you deserve to be someone who does what they say that they'll do. So that's a key thing. So let's just review what we've covered today. This is your follow-through mode. We covered the real cost of never finishing anything. We covered the 3 follow-through killers, which was motivation reliance, ignoring quit points, and unrealistic planning. We also covered the 3 formula elements, which is systems over motivation, always, the quit point preparation, and reality-based planning, planning for your real self and not your best self. And your action step is to answer those 3 questions before starting anything. You pick one thing and you find out what are your specific triggers, what are the things you do when you quit, what's your minimal viable actions. You answer those 3 before even starting. So let's create your follow through formula. Let's move on to that. Okay. So I have some limited follow through strategy sessions available. That really these are only for the people that are serious about becoming finishers. You're fed up. You've lowered your toleration for distractions and for wasting time. You lowered your distraction, you've lowered your toleration for that. You said, you know what, this is it. I'm tired of people passing me, so I'm ready to move forward on this. And so many times after these workshops, people can fill up these spots, fill up the calendars. So you want to be sure that you're booking time. So what you can do, and I'm putting this in the chat now, you go to talkwithtrevor.com, and let me make sure that that's a link. Hold on for a minute. I'm putting this right into the chat now. Here we go. And let's make sure that that's a link. Yep, that second one is a link. Got to put that HTTP in there. Yes. So book a spot before I don't have. There's no time left on the calendar. All right. So there's a very few that I have here, and so what I'd like to do is really work with you to make sure that you become a finisher. All right. Go to talkwithtrevor.com, fill out the form, fill out a time now. If for some reason there aren't times that work with you, feel free to send me a private message or book a time. And what I'll do is reach out to you. You can leave a comment that, hey, I just wanted to put this on my calendar. Put this on your calendar. This really doesn't work for me. Is there another time? And I'll reach back out to you to reschedule something. And I may be able to open my calendar up. As I said, it's only for people that's serious about becoming finishers, right? So I want you to stop starting, stop finishing. So if you're ready to transform from someone who starts everything into someone who finishes what matters, grab one of those strategy sessions now. Why? Because your future finished projects are waiting and you have lowered your toleration level and you had made the decision that says, I am a finisher. You didn't say I'm going to be, you said that I am a finisher. And when you change your speech, when you change your how you put yourself out there, how you're putting it in the present tense, then that's the difference. You're not saying it's going to be someday I'm going to finish this. Someday you said, you know what? I'm making a decision right now, today, to finish this. Okay. So I want to thank you all so much. I know we ran just we ran a little bit over time. And so be sure to spread the word. Tell anyone that you know that's interested in this. The replay will be up shortly. They can go to coachtrevlive.com, register and get access to the replay. They can come here any along those lines. All right. But be sure to book a strategy session. Go to talkwithtrevor.com. And if you have any issues or anything, feel free to send me a private message, reach out to me, put it in the chat. I'll be checking the chat along those lines, and I'll reach back out to you. So I want to thank you all so much, and I'll see you all on the next workshop. All right. Have an excellent day. And here's to you finishing what you started and exceeding your expectations. Become part of the 8% and achieve your goals. Have an excellent day.